Rose the Whitbucator was the real-life person who Jack Dawson was based on in the film Titanic. She was born on June 2, 1889, making her 17 years old when the Titanic sank in 1912. Rose was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Ruth and Thomas the Whitbucator. She traveled extensively with her family in her younger years. She had one nickname growing up, Rosie, and was known as Rosie to her family and close friends. Rose was described as an avid reader and enjoyed playing the piano. Rose attended private schools in Pennsylvania and New York City prior to the Titanic voyage. She was well educated and had learned to speak several languages, including French and German. At 17, Rose blossomed into a beautiful young woman. She received many compliments on her beauty and grace. Rose was confident and fashionable with a kind and cheerful disposition. Despite her youth, Rose was determined to live the life she dreamed of, free from the restraints of her overbearing mother. She knew that the Titanic would provide a perfect opportunity to bring her plans into fruition. Before boarding the ship, Rose traveled to Paris where her mother had bought her a lavish wardrobe. She packed her new clothes into a large trunk to bring with her on the voyage. When Rose boarded the Titanic with her parents and her fiancé Cal, she was 17 years and 83 days old. Her age puts her amongst the youngest survivors of the disaster. During the voyage, Rose made the most of her newfound freedom, secretly meeting with Jack Dawson and enjoying her time on the grand ship. Rose was on the boat deck when the ship struck the iceberg. She watched as the iceberg floated away, unaware of the tragedy that would soon unfold. Rose was one of a few hundred first-class women and children who were salvaged in Lifeboat 7. She was 17 years old at the time, and was one of the youngest survivors. After the rescue by the RMS Carpathia, Rose was taken to an immigration hospital in New York City. There, she was reunited with Cal and the two married shortly after. Rose's mother did not survive the sinking, while her father was rescued by a lifeboat. Thomas never fully recovered from the death of his wife, and was himself only to live another 5 years. Rose later moved to Hollywood and married George Widener, a former chairman of Montgomery Ward & Co. She recently celebrated her 100th birthday. Rose has continually spoken about the tragedy of the Titanic, and has been an active campaigner for its preservation and investigation through the years. Rose, the real-life inspiration for the fictional character played by Kate Winslet in the film Titanic, was 17 years old when the Titanic sank in 1912. Rose had reached an age where she was no longer deemed a minor, yet she was still in the prime of her youth. She disembarked the Titanic with newfound confidence and a fresh outlook on life. Rose had the potential to make her future whatever she wanted it to be, and she certainly made the most of the opportunities available to her. By 1912, Rose was a model of elegance and sophistication, and she brought these qualities with her when boarding the Titanic. She had experienced many successes and challenges in her young life, and was ready to take on the world. Rose was 17 years old when she had her life-altering experience on the Titanic, and her story will live on for as long as the movie and its real-life counterparts. By the time she boarded the Titanic, Rose was familiar with the grandiose lifestyles and attentive service that were a signature of the era. She had been to Paris and mingled with high society, and was already blossoming into a headstrong woman. Rose had enjoyed many years of privilege as a minor, but on the Titanic she experienced freedom and adult responsibilities for the first time. She proved herself a survivor on several occasions, and she exuded a sense of maturity beyond her years. Rose's story helps us to understand the social landscape of the early 20th century. At 17, Rose was already a debutante and boarding the Titanic with a respectable escort. Despite the unfortunate circumstances surrounding the sinking of the Titanic, Rose was alive and well and had the potential to make a real difference in the world. She lived on to become an influential figure and a role model for many. The Titanic tragedy was a pivotal moment in Rose's life, and it shaped who she was to become. She experienced heartbreak, but she also experienced great joy and freedom despite her age.